As you know, today, inshallah, we'll be going through some questions which we have received, and I've added a few extra for the benefit of the listeners in the masjid and online, inshallah. First question is, if a person found Imam in ruku, am sami or Imam ruku mein, so should that person read thana when joining to Jama'ah? So if you enter the masjid and the Imam is in ruku, the question is, when you say Allahu Akbar, do you read thana and then join the Imam in ruku, or can you directly go into ruku? Ruling is, if you know you will able to join the Imam in ruku after reading the thana, Subhanallahumma wa bihamdika wa tabarak asmuka wa ta'ala jaddika wa la ghayruk. Okay, and then you go into ruku and you will able to meet the Imam in ruku, then it is better to read thana and then join the Imam in ruku. However, nowadays, okay, ruku is only for about a couple of seconds, 3-4 seconds. So by the time you read thana, the Imam will say Sami Allahu liman hamidah. So for this reason, you say Allahu Akbar and then Allahu Akbar go into ruku. Is that understood? So you don't need to read thana. Now please remember, when you go to ruling, is for example, if you can come here, let's say for example, the Imam Sahab is in ruku. We're in ruku. Yes? Now we see the Imam in ruku. Yes? Now we want to join the Jamaat, we want to obtain that rakat. Now sometimes what happens, people come running and once bowing, they say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Okay, some people do that, like a Superman. Yeah? So he already was joining the Jamaat, they already bent, they're in ruku, and they say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yes? Now the ruling is for takbir al-tahrima, qiyam, standing is necessary. Okay? So you have to say Allahu Akbar and then Allahu Akbar go into ruku. If you were to do this, Allahu Akbar, your namaz will not count, will not start at all. Okay? So takbir al-tahrima ke liye qiyam karna, khara hona ye shart hai. Okay? If you do not stand up and say Allahu Akbar, your namaz will not count, because you're already in ruku and you miss one of the fard, which is qiyam, which is the fard of the prayer. So to answer the question is, if a person found Imam ruku, then is just say Allahu Akbar and then say Allahu Akbar and join the Imam in ruku. Now again, another thing. When you say Allahu Akbar, you go into ruku, and you stayed with the Imam in ruku for the duration of saying Subhanallah once, 1 second, 1.5 seconds. You stayed with the Imam. For a person to it takes a person to say Subhanallah once, then he has obtained that rakat. If you go into ruku, so Imam is in ruku, you said Allahu Akbar, you go into ruku, as soon as you go your head down to ruku, Imam says Sami Allahu liman hamidah, you have missed that rakat. Yes, you carry on with the Imam, but after the salam, you repeat that one rakat. Is there any questions about this? Please feel free. Okay? It's a free Q&A for you lot. So is that understood? So you only get the rakat only if you know you've stayed with the Imam in the ruku for the duration of saying Subhanallah once. If, for example, now this is another thing. Baz Imam, okay, when they go into ruku, okay, Subhanallah, they lift their heads and then they say Sami Allahu liman hamidah. So you have to be careful. Okay? So in this situation, if you were to join the Imam in ruku, but Imam already has lifted his head up, he's going to ruku, and therefore you miss the rakat. So the condition is you have to be with the Imam in ruku for the duration of saying Subhanallah once. If the Imam lifted his head, whether he says Sami Allahu liman hamidah at that moment or later on, you have missed that rakat, you will repeat that rakat later after salah. Okay? Okay, second question. The next three are related to some fasting. Are we allowed to use toothbrush and toothpaste whilst fasting? Now, as regards to toothbrush, it's absolutely fine. As long as it's washed, there's no taste of toothpaste. It's like siwak. Yeah, you're allowed to use a plain toothbrush any time during the day, morning, afternoon, evening. But the afdal, best, recommended, more rewarding is to use miswak. It purifies your gums, your teeth, your mouth. It refreshes your mouth. Okay, and the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, whether you use it in the morning, after Dhuhr, after Asr, before Maghrib, any time, according to Ahnaf, or Imam Abu Hanifa radiallahu ta'ala, his school of fiqh, there's absolutely no karaha in using miswak in any time during the day whilst you're fasting. However, as regards using mouthwash or toothpaste, the ulama have mentioned, if you are certain there's a possibility that you might swallow a bit of that taste, okay, of toothpaste or mouthwash, it will go down your throat, then it's impermissible. And if you are doubtful, then it's makruh. Otherwise, it's better to avoid. In the state of fasting, to use toothbrush, toothpaste, and to use mouthwash. Yes. Remember, as regards to flossing your teeth, floss. People who floss is good to do it. Okay. Again, if you're bleeding, okay, whilst you're flossing your teeth, and the blood goes down your throat, this will break your fast. Obviously, it will break your wudu because you're bleeding. But in regards to fast, if blood goes into your mouth and goes down the throat, then this will break your fast. So make sure you rinse your mouth thoroughly. Now again, when you rinse your mouth, don't gargle. In fasting, you shouldn't do that. Even if ghusl is fard, you shouldn't gargle. Because again, there's a possibility water may go down the throat and this will break your fast. Yes. So I mentioned a few important rulings regarding this question. Question number 3, are we allowed to have vaccination for people going Hajj? Okay, some brothers asked me this question, they need injections, vaccinations before Hajj or Umrah, for example, they're going in Ramadan. So what is the ruling? The ruling is absolutely fine, there's no harm having injections whilst in the state of fasting. So yeah. Same with insulin injections, jabs. Again, absolutely fine because they are injected into the flesh. Yes, the only time when injections are not allowed in state of fasting is when they're directly into the stomach or directly into your brain, your mukh. Okay, or any of the passages that they go straight into the stomach. Okay, other than that, all other injections are absolutely fine. Yes, is there a question there? Okay, nicotine patch for those who are smoking. Okay, again, same thing is fine. You can apply it. You can full body of nicotine patches everywhere. It will not affect your fast. Okay. Right. Question number 4. Are we allowed to miss fasts if we are musafir? Now I'm going to ask you a question. Who is a musafir? Musafir kone? The traveler. Okay, and what is the minimum requirement of a traveler? Distance. How many miles do you need to travel before you become Islamically a traveler? 52.5 miles. 52.5 miles. Yes? So 52.5 miles, if you make an intention to go to a distance of 52.5 miles or more. So for example, if I want to go to Leicester, once a month I end up going Leicester anyway, which is approximately 110 miles. Yes? So as soon as you leave Bolton, okay, the boundary of Bolton is far north. Okay, if you're going from that area, or Horwich, if you go from that area, or Bromley Cross, that's part of Bolton, isn't it? If you go towards north. Okay, that area, the vicinity of Bolton. As soon as you leave the vicinity of Bolton to a place which is 52 and a half miles or more, then you will be known as a musafir, a traveler. Now, in the state of fasting, as the Quran says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى. If you're ill or you're in a state of safar journey, then you're allowed to make these days and other days, i.e. the new qada of these days of fast. But the condition is, you have to leave Bolton, or whatever your hometown is, the vicinity of Bolton before Sahri end. If your flight is, for example, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you leave your house at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, which is after Sahri end, you have to keep that day's fast. Yes? So in order for you to be able to be forgiven, okay, from fasting that day, you have to leave Bolton before Sahri end. Okay? If you stay in your hometown and you obtain the time of suhoor, okay, or you did Sahri end, then you have to keep that fast. If you don't, you become sinful. Is that clear? Okay, so this is the condition of leaving the hometown before Sahri end. A sister asked, changing nappies, subhanallah, does it break wudu? Appetite. Does changing nappies break wudu? What do you think? Huh? Okay, changing nappies will not break wudu. Okay, and another sub-question following this, if impurity falls onto the body, okay, for example, if a mother, a father, if they were to change nappies and the bit of impurity, urine or solids, they touch the hands, the fingers, or the clothing, then what is the ruling? Will wudu break? If impurity falls on your body, will wudu break? Yeah. Yes or no? Subhanallah. Now there's ikhtilaf. Okay, if impurity falls onto your body, this will not break your wudu or ghusl. Okay, this will not break. Okay, yes, that part of the skin becomes impure, you just wash it off. But it doesn't affect your wudu. Is that clear? So having impurity, if impurity falls onto your body, onto your piece of clothing, or your skin, or any part of you, then this will not break your wudu, this will not break your ghusl. However, that part of the piece of clothing or skin, body, it needs to be washed thoroughly, and if it's a piece of cloth, 3 times, and rinse it 3 times thoroughly on each rinse, and this is how you purify the piece of clothing. Does changing now, again, this changing clothes, looking at someone's aura or touching your own aura, does this break wudu? So three parts. Does changing clothes, okay, break wudu? What is the ruling? Okay, so you've done ghusl for Friday, you came to your room, okay, you were changing, then that means you keep changing, you keep doing wudu. Yes? But the ruling is it won't break your wudu. Changing your clothes or looking at your own aura or someone else's aura, such a aura, okay, will not break. So someone's knees, for example, again, please remember, okay, boys, that whilst you're out on the streets, okay, playing, you have to cover your aura. Such an aura is including your, just below the nables, and including your knees. All that is such an aura for men. So if you were to look at someone's knees, okay, this will not break your fast. Again, it's haram and necessary to look at someone's aura. Yeah? But unfortunately, sometimes we end up in the masjid, okay, and again, this is the fault of the musalli, the worshipper. They're not wearing proper clothing. Okay, we go into sujood, and his satr aura is exposed. Okay, again, his salah will become invalidated. Again, the ruling satr aura is very technical. If the quarter of the back is exposed, okay, and sometimes it is exposed a lot, okay, for the duration, subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah 3 times, then salah will break. By looking at someone's awrah, looking at our own awrah, okay, sometimes applying cream, okay, you might have eczema, okay, you need to, after ghusl, okay, you have to apply cream. So touching your awrah, such awrah, your thighs is such awrah, okay, touching your thighs will not break your awrah, break your wudu. Okay, this is Al-Qadir Ahnaf. So for listeners online, if you're Shawafi', Al-Qadir Imam Shafi'i, and other Aimma, touching your own awrah will nullify your wudu. But Al-Qadir Ahnaf, most of us are Hanaf, followers of Imam Abu Hanifa's school of fiqh, and therefore touching your own awrah will not nullify your wudu. Any question about this? Is that clear? Okay, final question. Braces and retainers. What is the hukam in terms of wudu and ghusl? Now braces, they are fixed. Okay, you cannot remove them. If you cannot remove them, then in ghusl, obviously you won't be able to remove them, so just do ghusl as it is, just rinse them off thoroughly. Yes, and try and whatever, if there's bits of food stuck in between, okay, try and remove as much as you can. Okay, but it's not necessary for you to, so even if ghusl becomes further upon you, yes, then it's harmful for you to remove yourself. It's fixed. Like you have to go to a dentist and he'll remove it. Are you a dentist, by the way? Okay, so yes, so you have to get removed by a professional, and therefore you just rinse them off, and inshallah your ghusl will be accepted. However, if they're removable ones, okay, you can remove them, yes, or retainers as I think they call them. Okay, like it's easy for you to take them off, rinse it, wash it, and put it back on. Then in this situation, it is fard for you to remove those retainers from your mouth, wash your mouth thoroughly. Again, if you're in the state of ghusl, don't gargle. Okay, again, I recommend in the state of fasting, okay, but you do not gargle, but make sure that there is nothing stuck in between your teeth. So if you do ghusl after sahri, and for example, there's about, I don't know what you have for sahri, like khichdi and all this. I don't know if people eat khichdi in this country. Okay, it was a joke, by the way, so it's mine. So yeah, so you can remove the food so that water can flow thoroughly in through every teeth. Between the teeth is where the gums need to be washed thoroughly. Underneath the lip, okay, inside the lips, like this part between the gum and the lip. This is also part of the mouth. Underneath the tongue, that is part of the mouth. All that needs to be washed thoroughly for the ghusl and for the wudu to be accepted. Yes, for wudu is sunnah to wash your mouth. Okay, so if you still have those retainers on, your wudu will be accepted. But it is sunnah to remove them, wash your mouth, and put it back on. Again, just remember, if you wash the braces, the retainers, and there's a bit of water, and then you put it in and you swallow that water, this will break your wudu now, break your fast. Okay, so make sure you rinse them thoroughly. There's no flowing water, okay, or dry if you can, if it's possible, leave them to dry, and then put it back on. Okay, if you wash the retainers and there's water and you put them in your mouth and then you swallow that water, this will break your what? Fast, inshallah. Take inshallah. So I think these were enough questions for today. Again, if you have any questions which you think are useful, you may know the answer, but you think other people are making errors in our community. The sisters are listening on the radio, the brothers are listening on social media. Okay, so if you do have any questions, please, you can ask them. If any question related to this, I can take them now. Otherwise, other questions, inshallah, we'll cover next week. कोई सवाल है इस सिलसिले में? कोई सवाल आपको? कल से गुजराती में उर्दू पंजाबी थोड़ा सा आता है, तो पंजाबी
मेरा सवाल है
जी,
ये जुम्मे की जो दूसरी ज़ान होती है, इसको आप जवाब नहीं दे सकते क्या है?
Yes, as regards to the adhan of Jum'ah, the second adhan, okay. Now, one thing to remember is when the adhan is happening, generally, all other Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Okay, these adhan, you need to reply to these. This is rewarding. To reply to the adhan. So when the Muaddin says Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Again, this is other written, this Hayya la salah, Hayya la salah, Hayya la falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Okay? There is a narration that with every word, the Prophet ﷺ said to women, now there's a hadith mentioned, I can't recall the exact wording of the hadith, but the reward is, the Prophet ﷺ told the women that when you hear Bilal or Muaddin saying adhan, repeat the words. For every word you say, Allah will give you 1 million rewards. And then the women ask, what about for the men? For them, double the reward. Okay. So Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. These are 4 sentences. Okay, 4 words, 4 kalimat. So it's an act of reward. Okay, and especially in the month of Ramadan, the blessings and rewards are increased many folds, many times. Now, as regards to the adhan of Jum'ah, which is the second adhan. Now, do you know, technically this was the first adhan. And at time of Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he added additional adhan before this adhan. But now this becomes the second one, and that one technically becomes the first one. This adhan all adhan used to happen outside the Masjid-e-Nabawi, or on the door of Masjid-e-Nabawi in front of the Imam. There's a hadith, the narrations, this adhan should happen in front of the Imam. Okay, now in front means facing the Imam, not here, not in the Masjid. Now 1, 2, 3, these 4 saf is part of the Masjid. The last 2 safs, they're outside the Finai Masjid is called, the actual Jamaat Khana. Okay, and that is why the ulama when they were establishing the Masjid, they said the last 2 safs, okay, with the niyyah it is not part of Jamaat Khana. Okay, therefore adhan over there is permissible. In the main big mosque in Masjid-e-Moinul Islam, the adhan happens outside. And the Jummah adhan happens right the last 3 safs. Again, because the father said when they were making the masjid, they said the last 3 safs will be cast as outside the masjid, outside the Jamaat Khana. Yes. Because, now why? Because adhan, such adhan, it's not allowed to give adhan in the masjid. It needs to be given outside the masjid. And therefore we give adhan in that area. Yes. Now this adhan is part of the khutbah of the Imam, which he gives in Jum'ah. That's a part of the khutbah. And therefore this second adhan, which is given in front of when the Imam is sat on the mimbar, okay, and the adhan is given, that time you have to remain quiet. Okay? It is like listening to the Quran, listening to the khutbah, listening to the reciting the Quran. So from the moment the adhan happens, remain quiet. Okay? And when the Imam is giving khutbah, remain quiet. हाँ ये भी मैंने देखा है, हालांकि बाज़ उलमा ये भी इरशाद फरमा कि दोनों खुतबों के दरमियान खुतबा ऊला और खुतबा थानिया दोनों खुतबों के दरमियान हाथ उठा के दुआ मांगते हैं. Some people between the 2 sermons they raise their hands and they make dua. Now there's इख्तिलाफ for ulama whether you are allowed to do that. आला हज़रत रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु की तहक़ीक़ यही है कि अफ़ज़ल यही है, बेहतर यही है, अब ना मांगे, हाँ खुतबा हो जाए, खुतबा और नमाज के दरमियान जो वक्त है उसमें दुआ मांगे. Okay, that is how when you should make dua. Okay, when the khutbah is finished, so even when the khutbah, between the 2 khutbah, the imam sits down, the khatib sits down, just be quiet. Okay, and then listen to the second khutbah, and then when the imam comes down from the khutbah and before the takbir, then that is time of ijabah, the time of when you make dua, you can make dua at that time. Okay, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala hame علم دين حاصل كرني وسبحانه التوفيق والتوفيق إن شاء الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وآله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى الوجود والكرم وآله وصحبه وبارك وسلم بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.